All right, on to match match 4 now. We won match 1 against Bugaloo, and then we lost to Bara on D&T. Then we lost to Mono Tidehollow Sculler deck. Which seemed pretty rough for us. It turns out the 2/2s that exile cards are pretty good against combo. So I don't know what the argument for not casting Ponder there is. I feel like we may have been a little tilted here after our previous matchup. Okay, an opponent's on Delver. So we're not sure if it's Grixis or Blue-Red just yet. We'll take a second draw, and we're going to run out the pedal in order to beat a Daze should it come up. There's an argument to keeping that, but we kind of want the ritual because we have just about everything else, although we're a long way from getting thresholded on it. Having said that, I don't think we want to be that slow in this matchup, and our opponent's flipped a Daze. Okay, so we did choose not to shuffle. Okay, so it's looking like Blue-Red Delver. So we're actually okay with this matchup. We've got a slightly slow start, but Tendrils from hand is pretty busted. And it means we don't need to worry about Daze or, Wasteland or probably Stifle. Although he's got a very fast clock on us now. So I think next turn we might just have to jam and hope for the best. We might actually be okay. And we're fetching Swamp just to play around Price of Progress. So I think we can put back kind of almost want Tendrils there, as we can almost get a Past in Flames loop from it. Here I think we're going to have to just try to go for it as best we can. I think we're going to So we're going to have 8 mana, 9 mana. Our opponent's helping us out here. So if opponent dazes, that's 1 more storm count. If he bolts us, that's 1 more storm count. Okay, he's holding off. So if we have 10 mana up, we can shoot it 3 times, which should be enough. If he dazes, that doesn't change the storm count. So what are we at? 5, 7, 8. We only need to resolve one more tutor. We're Stone Cold to Force. We're Stone Cold to any hard counter. I think we can beat any soft counter bar Flusterstorm. Or a combination of Spell Pierce plus Daze. So the reason we went for it there is if opponent has something like Price of Progress Bolt, we lost anyway. Or even just Price of Progress, Price of Progress killed us. And so we've just gone for it to try and race them with the hope that they didn't have Force of Will in hand, and it's paid off. So I think we got really lucky there. And we're resolving all the tendrils individually, just in case he tries to daze one. Here, we're just going to do a standard Delver plan, which is Cabal, Therapy, and Empty the Warrens in. We can be a little greedier than normal, and we cut Ad Nauseam, and normally we cut a Preordain. Here, we normally cut a Preordain and a Cabal Ritual. Here we can cut a Preordain and a basic land. The reason we cut the basic land is we don't really care about playing around Price of Progress. Price of Progress is usually just going to be the same effect as Double Bolt. It's just it's more card efficient, it's not more mana efficient. Our opponent is probably shaving Price of Progress as well. We're definitely keeping this. And I think we want to aim for something like maybe a turn to Empty the Warrens. So if we go something like Probe into Cabal Therapy, take Force of Will, jam out all that stuff, we can empty for 10 to 12. Which generally should be enough to race. It's not a guarantee, but generally. Okay, and so our opponent's starting to get a little bit of a clock on us. But the nice thing is he's going down a lot in cards. Um, so I think with the number of creatures in their hand at the moment, we're better off waiting another turn. So goblins are good at racing, but you need to get enough. And I think once he's got 4 creatures, all we're doing is stalling, and we've burnt a lot of resources. So he's down to 3 cards in hand, 2 of them are creatures, and 1's a land. So he's going to get to start aggroing us pretty quick here. So I think we can afford to hold one more turn. I'm pretty sure. It's going to be close, and I think we might have to dodge. Might have to dodge a burn spell. Now, from where we are now, we've got to decide whether or not we can Cabal Therapy first. So what do we have? We have 10, 12 mana. So if we Infernal Past in Flames, that brings us to 6 mana. I have to wonder whether or not we can just chain out tutors. So what do we need for 12 mana? So we have 4, 12, 4, 10, 12. So 2 LEDs is 6, 4 lands is 10, and a Dark Ritual is +2, so that gets us 12. So we have 4 Storm in hand, we'd need to hit another 3 tutors, so we should just chain tutors here. Or cast a Cabal Therapy for a Force of Will. Because that'll bring us up to Storm 5, and then we need to tutor twice. Okay, and our opponent flipped the Force of Will. We shouldn't have played around Surgical. We can beat Surgical. We can't beat Force. So we're just going to have to run this back. So I think any piece of non-Force of Will interaction we beat. So we just picked the wrong card with a therapy. We got 2 taken away with the Past in Flames line and decided we were stone cold to that. No, decided we were stone cold to Surgical Extraction. We were also a bit surprised by the fact that he didn't reveal the Force of Will, but I guess he wanted to have a gotcha moment. So I think that's something that only really works once. Now, current hand's pretty great. If we draw a tutor off the top, I think we probably win. And so we're just going to fetch now for thinning. And we've drawn the absolute last card we want to see, which is a second Past in Flames. Our opponent's being very aggressive with the probes, which I guess almost makes sense in context of the Swift Spears. But I feel like in this matchup, he also probably wants to be somewhat conservative with his life total. That can be a little risky. Okay, and that is a stacked hand. So this is going to be quite difficult for us to fight through. So we need to start by getting rid of probably a Past in Flames and an LED. And then I really kind of want to Infernal Tutor for a Duress. Now, if we Infernal Tutor for a Duress, it leaves us in a slightly soft position. We get a bit weaker to Surgical Extraction. On the flip side, firing off a Dark Ritual here means that he has to Force of Will. And the upside to this is we still have another LED on top. And we can Duress again next turn. And then if we still don't get there, I think we... Okay, so we have a line next turn that will require 1, 2, possibly 3 separate counter spells. So Duress takes a counter spell. And then we Cabal Ritual. And if Cabal Ritual doesn't resolve, then we cast double LED. And then we flash back Past in Flames, which requires a 3rd counter spell. So I think we're fortunate enough to have an incredibly broken hand here. Oh, okay, and he's now surgicaled a Dark Ritual, which makes this a lot harder for us. And it's also going to put us on a very short clock here, I think. So I think we need to... Okay, so we got to empty the warrants. Alright, so we need to take force of will here. Or do we take Flusterstorm? I think we might take... We take force that leaves him... If we take Fluster... This is a pretty hard one. Both of these will work out being hard counters. I think we take force of will. Yeah, we take force of will and we cast Lion's Eye Diamond. And the reason we take force of will and then cast Lion's Eye Diamond is because he's probably not going to daze the LED. We're then going to Cabal Ritual. And he's going to daze the Cabal Ritual and we're going to respond with LED. Alright, we should... Okay, we shouldn't have passed the turn there. So this is our absolute last turn, I think. So we're actually still in better shape than we should be here, given our opponent now just has Delver Daze Mystery card, and we have Empty the Warrens in our hand. So I think we start by casting an LED. So we have to lead on LED here to let him daze. It's the same line we took last turn. The same line we should have taken last turn, I think. Only we've now left it a turn later than we should have. And so our opponent doesn't know that we have an Empty and a second Past in Flames in hand. So they're going to assume, I'd guess, that we have more mana. Okay. So despite the fact that we should have gone for it earlier, we probably got a little lucky. And our opponent found, and in that time our opponents found a Flusterstorm. Oh, we got lucky by dodging the Flusterstorm there, to be honest. So if LED resolves, or if we manage to pay, if LED resolves without him casting Daze, okay, no wait. So we cast LED. If he dazes, we respond with Cabal Ritual. If he goes to daze the Cabal Ritual, when we cast it, we respond with the LED. So one way or another, we have the mana. Now, our biggest problem here is we are a bit choked on mana in a way that we probably won't be able to combo with Tendrils. Because we're going to have 8 mana. He's going to daze at some point, which is going to give us 7. And once we flash back past In Flames, we're going to have 2. Now, once we have 2 mana in the pool, we're then going to flash back Cabal Ritual, which will give us 5. Which just isn't enough for... it's not enough for us to go and Infernal Tutor for Tendril. So we're going to need to Infernal Tutor for a red source, bringing us to 6 mana. I think we then want to burn all the rest of our black. All the rest of our black, casting all our discard spells, and then we're going to cast Empty the Warrens. And we're going to drop, it should be something along the lines of 20 goblins on the board. So we're going to bluff needing the red here. And he will definitely daze. Now to win this match, we still need to dodge one more thing. So the one thing that we need to dodge is a sweeper. So something like a Pyroclasm. Now I'm not sure if he has such a thing. Maybe he has Electricity, maybe he has Pyroclasm, I'm not sure. But it's not something we want to gamble on, if we can possibly help it. Unfortunately, we can't. And so we're stuck in a slightly awkward position. Now, fortunately for us, with the number of goblins we're making, if we dodge a sweeper, this is a deterministic win. Our opponent can't push his Swift Spears through. And we have enough goblins on board to deal 10 damage. Okay, and he's just drawn a Swift Spear, so that's not going to get him there. He can play out his 2 creatures, and we will win the match.